And I feel like the water that separates these areas, right, these kind of parts of the island, it's just not deep enough. I mean, that hell, it's basically a puddle. It's a stream more than anything, when it should be like a stretch of ocean, I feel. If anything, it should be deeper. But yeah, now we get into the even dustier parts of the world, which, make of it what you will. It feels odd. Like it doesn't mesh with the rest of the tropical parts. Like that end, the Dwarven Ruin end, I'm kind of fine with because it's more mountainous, and I suppose this is as well, but the mountain here looks particularly bad, if you will. But let's carry on with our main quest here real quick. We'll head on back to town. We will explore the grave. Well, grab the Sky Shard real quick. Then we'll explore the grave.
Elves.
Headman Bosek threw my sweet Jakan into the grave.
Your Jakarn was buried?
No, no. The grave is the prison in that cave ahead. Jakan described it as a ghastly place. Traps block the exit, and most criminals roam freely inside. Bosek accused him of stealing a gem, and this orc monster threw him in.
Did he steal this gem?
Gods no, he's rich. He's a prince from Glenumbra. He promised to whisk me away from my family and make me his princess. But now he's going to die in the grave, while I'm forced to return home.
I'll see what I can do.
Jakan said the gate in the cave is never locked, because no one ever makes it past the traps.
That's stupid. Why do they call it the grave?
It's beneath the palace, and anyone thrown in dies there. Jakan said the guards are brutal, and the other prisoners are worse.
Can't he escape?
Traps, guards, and other prisoners prevent that. Jakan said there are rows and rows of traps, and everyone down there, except for Jakan, is a vicious murderer. No one's ever gotten out. My poor Jakan.
You said Jakarn is a prince.
Yes, from Westry. How I longed to travel there with him. He described it as bright, beautiful, and full of life.
That is a funny joke for later on. Tell me about Bosik.
Disgusting. Uncultured. Devious. His guards are criminals, and his laws benefit only himself. I pray to Ariel that the sea rises up and swallows this pit, but only after Jakan and I are long gone.
Elves.
Is it true that Jakarn stole a gem?
That's what the headman claims. That's what got him thrown into the grave.
You're looking for a stolen gem that might not exist.
You mocking me? The headman makes the laws. It's my job to punish anyone who breaks them. Now beat it before I toss you in the grave.
Okay. So once again, this place is kind of lame, mostly because it's a stereotypical Breton ruin in a Redguard location, and I feel like that should be different. Significantly so. It really shouldn't be this, well, boring, per se.
What is it?
Hey, you're not a guard. Get me out of here, please.
An elf named Irian sent me to find you.
Irian? Aldmer girl? Yeah, I promised her a way off this rock. But that won't ever happen if I die in here.
Did you steal from Headman Bosek?
Is that really important right now? Bosek stole it from someone else. Can't steal from a thief. If you get me out of this, I'll owe you big. I owe you for this. Thanks. Now, let's get out of here.
Is he really just gonna walk the whole way?
You first.
Alright. Yeah, this place really ain't much to look at. It's not too different from most other Breton ruins that you come across. It's just uneventful, boring, you know? Unoriginal.
We can't go that way.
Why not?
Arians out there. Oh, and guards. I saw many, many guards. Look, let's slip out a side exit. That way we can both keep our heads.
Over here, please.
This dumps us out way over here.
Thanks for breaking me out back there. Listen, while you're in a heroic mood, want to help me get something I left with the goblins?
You gave something to the goblins?
I figure if you want something kept safe, give it to the goblins. They'll watch it for free. They're too stupid to trade it, and they'll kill anyone who tries to take it.
Won't they kill you if you try to take it?
Here's the thing. You went through a lot of trouble to free me, right? There's no way you'll let me get eaten by goblins. So you, my good friend, will follow me to their mine. Yeah? This way.
I was hoping to see more bridges like this on this island. You know, give it that real piratey wood bridge feel, but unfortunately we don't really get that a whole lot.
I'll meet you at the door.
Yeah,
Damn
he'll,
murdering goblins. Goblins. They're gonna kill us all.
What happened?
They killed everyone. My brothers and our 5 guards. They speared me good, left me for dead. I crawled here after they left. Their new kings got them all riled up, ready to attack Port Hunding and wipe out the town.
What can I do about it?
Kill their king. They won't attack the town without him to lead them. Bring me his crown so I know the bastard's dead. I try to make it to town, unless the goblins kill me first.
I'll do it.
I just need to gather my strength and hobble back to town. Get that goblin king and bring me his crown if you can.
How'd you run into goblins?
We actually went looking for them, if you can believe that. We'd heard they had a new king and he was stirring up trouble. We figured we could handle them, but there were too many for us.
Why don't you just warn the town?
No good. Bosek will never believe it. He's a suspicious bastard, and will think we're trying to trick him somehow. He'd have our heads on pikes. I'm too fond of my head to risk it.
What will you do if I go after the king?
I'll try to make it to town. I'm too injured to be any good to you. And if the goblins catch me out here, I'm dead.
Oh, we got another dwarven part here. And there's a way shrine off in this direction. It's an oddly placed way shrine, I will say that. Like, it really is just out of the way. It's out of the way on a little offshoot island as well, which makes it especially strange. It's mostly because I don't really see the need for it. Especially when it's all the way over here. And these direction markers are very strange. We have another body here. If I find Tarina, she may reward me for returning these. I don't know why. I vaguely remember there being a treasure hunt, but I either must have missed it or didn't even find the right place. I guess we can do some goblin killing while we're here. Should be around here somewhere. And yeah, the goblin layout, it's just a lot of scaffolding and just junk, frankly. And it's interesting just how close they are as well. Like, they're all over the place. And they just kind of live up in this mountain. A part of me likes this area just because, well, you'll see. But I also kind of just hate how plain and boring it looks.
I unlocked the door. Now we can retrieve my gem. I'll see you inside.
What does the gem look like?
It's as pretty as a thing can be, and as big as my 2 fists. They store everything on the upper level.
And yeah, this is a pretty big area. Once again, it's just a pretty standard... at least it's a sandy cave. But I expect most of these areas to be updated well enough. But yeah, this is why I like this area, because it's got like that kind of mountainside kind of overlook. I love places like that. I'm a sucker for things like those. I just wish there was more to look at, per se. Like, it's not an impressive view.
This is the part where I trust you.
What are you talking about?
I'll kill the goblins in the scaffolding in the next room. You grab the gem. It's in a chest on the floor. There's a passage on the far side. Take that and meet me outside. If something goes wrong, regroup at the inn in town.
Like I said, pretty standard ruin, cave, dungeon, you know what I mean. There's just nothing to really say about it, other than, boy, I hope they improve the textures. And there's also just like some weird scaffolding in this place that just kind of leads to nowhere and nothing, that I suppose they didn't really intend you to look at, but I imagine that all of these things will be drastically improved. At least, boy, I hope. It's kind of part of the reason why I think it's so drab and unappealing. Especially when I look at stuff like, they're like, what is that? That's just kind of there. Right? There's no explanation as to of what that is. It just exists on the island. It's very strange.
Over here. I have a question for you. What were you doing in the mine? And did you see a scummy Breton up there?
What's his name?
Yakarn. He's a liar and a thief. He stole a gem from headman Bosek. Now, if the gem came back, Bosek might let him live. Can you help me, or not?
Sorry, haven't seen him.
Now that's just too bad. If you do run into him again, tell him that if we catch him, he's dead.
I believe this is the last Dwemer part up here. Oh, there's another quest over here, actually. Grubby Grunyon. That's gotta be one of my favorite names in this game. It's so terrible.
He does this to me. I hope you're not here to kill goblins. If you are, we'll have a problem.
Why?
My friend is in that camp. Mark. He's lost his mind. The goblins stole Mark's special brew. Expensive stuff. Losing it broke him. He went mad and ran off to join his tribe.
Your friend left to be a goblin.
Crazy, isn't it? He's mad as a Bosmer. Won't listen to a word I say. I'll make you a deal. Find Mark. Convince him to come back. I'll trade you some gold, and we'll both walk away happy.
I'll see what I can do.
Start by looking for Mark's special brew. If any is left, the smell might make him slightly less crazy.
What makes this brew so special?
Fermentation, flowers, a number of other things you don't want to know about. Tastes like honey, but kicks like a horse. If he sold it, he'd be rich, but he just drinks it all.
Alright, let's do that one real quick. Find Mark's special brew. Oh, it's actually off in this direction. Whoops. Yeah, that wall really bothers me, because it's so pointless. It's so pointless. And here we just have a pretty run-of-the-mill, you know, goblin area. Nothing special about it. I do like how we can see more of the, dwarven ruins from here.
Who? Go away.
Mark, I found your special brew.
Brew. Yes. Where did you get it? That smell. Wait. Where am I? What am I wearing?
You're in a goblin camp. Acting like a goblin.
I remember now. Too much root pulp. Less kick, more crazy. Grubby was right. I'm out of my gourd. Things are starting to make sense again.
So you'll head back to town?
I'm not spending another minute in this camp. Thank you, friend.
So yeah, over here, in this little section, you'll see my massive disappointment when it comes to this island. Is the, because I remember walking over here initially and, you know, being really excited to explore. I used to be really interested in exploring areas in this game, and once I realized that there's no actual treasure to be gained, no real loot to grab, as it were, from exploring these places, I kind of stopped. I stopped caring. I stopped actually looking for things. But like coming over here and seeing this, Rash Merchant's Plummet, it's like, oh man, it sure would be cool if these islands were still connected, you know? Maybe in an overhaul, they could be, but as it stands, there's just not a whole lot going on here. And if we take a look over on this side of the island, you'll find a whole heaping whop of nothing. There's just nothing here. Although I will say, there is some foliage, there's some greenery up on that part of the island, which I do appreciate. I was kind of hoping there would be more of that. There's also some odd details, too, like this one dead tree out here. And it's a very different kind of tree. It's not a palm tree, which is really weird. There's a couple of odd details like that here and there on this place, but aside from that, you never really get a whole lot of cool small details. Most of the small details in this place are like, you know, treasure hunting things, the odd pirate stuff here and there. As far as tutorials go, this zone is actually kind of bad. It doesn't really teach you anything.
Where's Mark? Did he listen to you?
I gave Mark his brew and he left the goblin camp.
You gave him... Damn! He ran off to drink it all himself, didn't he? I have to get back to town. Take this and thank you, friend. That fool better have saved some for me.
Now we can finally make our way back to town. I do believe we've done every or just about every quest. Like I said, I vaguely remember there being like a treasure hunting quest, but I didn't come across it, I guess. Or maybe it is one of these, like bring the bracelet and note. Might be that one. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in a second. If not, I'll just take a quick stroll back to Saintsport, because I'm pretty sure that's where the quest is located. Talk to Rulorn here.
Yes? Do you have something for me?
I found something you might be interested in.
Just what my sphere needs. Just give me a minute, then throw that switch over there.
I'll wait.
Ah, good. I believe this will work. One never knows what's going to happen when working on Dwemer devices.
Boy, this is taking forever.
Now throw the lever, and we will see what happens. I must say that my research does not often produce such spectacular results. Most gratifying. Oh, research never goes as one expects.
Was that good?
I'm amazed it worked at all. But thanks to you, I've made remarkable strides today. Narama will be thrilled. Please take this for your good work.
I guess that's another thing. I forget that Rulorn is Naramo's brother, because he almost never brings him up again whenever he shows up in later zones.
Keep moving. I'm in no mood to chat.
I found this note and bracelet. Were they your brothers?
They knew that goblin spawn would put a dagger in our backs. Siraj never could pass up a pretty face. This bracelet was given to my ancestors by King Sahel. Siraj always wore it. Take this in thanks. Uptka guide you.
Ah, meet Jakarn at the inn. Alright. I do believe that'll be the last... Oh, and Tukta Gognir. Okay. Couple more things to wrap up, and then we'll be ready to go. I also find this place very interesting, because I'm pretty sure these are all dwarven lights, and it's implied that they are probably steam-powered. It's just a very odd location. And I feel like it isn't stressed enough just how intrinsically tied the dwarven machines are to the world in this place.
Did you do it? Did you kill the Goblin King?
Yes. Here's the crown.
By Kain, you did it. I've been expecting them to attack the town any minute. Bosek tossed me out when I tried to warn him. Said he'd have my head if I didn't shut up. He'll never know you saved his town for him. If it's not goblins, it'll be something else tomorrow. I swear this town is cursed.
Why aren't you in the tavern?
They kicked me out. They heard Bosek threatened me. They don't want to risk his fists storming in to arrest me.
Fair enough.
That bastard. If you're looking for that bastard Jakan, he's at the tavern with a Redguard girl.
What happened?
I overheard him telling a Redguard girl he'd whisk her off to Sentinel, that he was a ship captain. She swooned like a fool, like I did. I'd tell the headman where he's hiding if I didn't hate the headman more. I need off this island.
There's Grubby Grunion.
Mark's special brew is all gone, but the house stuff's not too bad.
And this guy's just naked.
I miss those goblins. The food was free, and clothing was optional.
I know there were more people that we could have talked to. Where did they go?
Oh, no.
Huh. Interesting. I could swear there was, those two, that Redguard and the Dark Elf. Maybe they're somewhere else. I remember they said meet us at the tavern, but I don't see them.
You drunk.
Morning.
Yeah, no, I don't see them.
I'll be sober, but you'll still be stupid.
Ha! You won't.
I don't really believe he's a captain. He looks so good, I don't care.
Jakarn's gorgeous. He could rob me anytime.
I don't believe a word Jakarn says. But there's just something about him. He's fascinating.
Hey there. Glad to see you made it out.
Here's that gem you stole.
Hey now, the headman stole it first. And you brought it back to me, didn't you? Thanks, good looking.
You owe me for freeing you, and Captain Colleen needs your help.
Seeing as it's you asking, sure. If she's planning a job, I'm in. All I ask is a trip off this rock after it's over. You enjoyed every minute of our little adventure. Well, by the sparkle in your eyes.
Best prices here.
Alright, real quick, before we get over there, I want to check... Yeah, because that was the last quest. I want to check Saintsport, because I swear there was another quest. I think it's this sunken boat over here. I didn't actually go to look at it. Yeah, it is. And it's a dark elf boat, that's what makes it so odd. Take the letter. Alrighty. Buried the booty somewhere in Stros M'kai. Alright. Stand atop Saintsport's star and spy the Eternal Sentinel's skirt. Skirt its gate to reach the shrine. Northwest stands the warrior. Walk 45 paces south. Leftward palms frame the site of the island of iron faces. Follow the rocky finger through the broken ship. Find the stone ship, which we know is right here. I'm just gonna save us the trouble of going through that entire thing. Because I know where it is. Basically, it makes you go in a giant circle when really the objective is right over here. We're gonna ignore that because he can't swim. I do like the touch of there being a bit of a treasure hunt. I just wish that it, you know, was a bit more involved than just basically making you go in a circle when the ship is right here. Oh, it makes you... okay. So you kind of have to go and do it in order, unfortunately. You can't just figure it out. That would be something I would change, frankly. Like, if you know where the boat is, right? Like, if you can figure it out, you shouldn't have to go through it again. Or you should be rewarded for being able to figure it out, but alas, they are being a bit restrictive here. Also, I will say the enemy density in Stros M'kai is crazy compared to the other zones that we were in. And it wants us to find the warrior. Now, the warrior could mean many things. It could be this one here. Or it could be the warrior that is all the way over here. The funny thing is, though, you literally cannot see it from this position. And the hint literally tells you northwest of the shrine, past the Eternal Sentinel Gate. So the Eternal Sentinel's Gate is that. This is the Eternal Sentinel's Gate. That's the Warrior Shrine. Bit confusing, frankly, considering they both look like warriors, though I could see how that's just the Eternal Sentinel. I think a bit of the problem with the way this quest is designed is that it's basically skipping steps, because the first thing you should be doing is finding the Eternal Sentinel's Gate, and then from there finding the warrior, but instead it just wants you to find the warrior right off the bat, which would be confusing. If you didn't have hints, you wouldn't be able to solve this because of the skipping steps part. But this is the warrior here. Then it wants you to walk 45 paces from the south statue. Or south from the statue, which would be over in this direction. Leftward palms frame it, which would be that island there. The island of Iron Faces being that Dwemer archway there. Which I find odd, because that's technically wrong. It would be brass. Or dwarven metal, whatever they want to call it. Yeah, I remember having a lot of trouble with this puzzle when I first played this game, just because it was so confusing. And then find the stone ship. And it literally just says, find the stone ship. Now, follow the rocky finger through the broken ship basically means go through here. But that's also weird because it implies that that's been there forever. You know what I mean? It's one of those treasure note paradoxes, like you know, like a Rise of Skywalker situation. Like, oh, we need this special dagger to find exactly where the important thing is on the Death Star ruins. And it's like, but the Death Star ruins haven't always been there. This dagger existed before then. Like, huh? What the heck? Just odd stuff like that. Kind of like this. Like, this heavily implies that this ship has been here for who knows how long. Or it could be that the note has just been written recently. Who knows? There's no telling what's been here for longer, frankly. Then we just have to dig in different spots. From what I remember, it's over here? If I can disturb the soil, here we go. Nope, not that one. Of course, it'd be buried all the way over here. Now, frankly, you'd think that quest would be worth a bit more than 200 gold. That's like a pittance, all things considered. But I'm not going to hold it against the game for, you know, giving you leveled loot. It's just, it's funny is all. Regardless, we can now carry on with the main quest and finally complete this zone, because once we do that, there should be nothing left for us.
Good to see you back in one piece. Hey, the captain's looking for you.
What's going on?
Thanks to your work, we can go ahead with the heist. We've even got a few extra sailors clamoring to join our crew. You should talk to the captain upstairs.
I'll go speak to her.
You're back. Found anyone else to help us with the heist?
We're moving along.
Ha! I knew you'd get it done. Who needs the old crew, those traitors, when we've got you helping us? With you helping Captain Colleen, we'll get the goods and be on the sea in no time.
Gang's all here.
The Dwemer were wonderful machinists. We could learn much from studying their works.
Quite the motley crew, aren't we?
It's a wonderful day for a sailing trip, isn't it, friend? Especially if it gets me off this rock before Bosek chops off my head.
We should head to the tank.
We've got a crew to rival the legends. Time to make some money. Don't you agree?
I agree. What now?
Now we're ready for the real challenge, the heist. The target's Bosek. That slimy bastard's finally going to get what's coming to him. We're going to steal his sailing logs.
His sailing logs? Really?
His sailing logs are the key to our fortune, friend. They're the records of every ship that's docked here, every stolen cargo they've unloaded, and every illicit payment made to Bosek.
How does that make us rich?
Those records are worth a fortune to King Vaharajad. They're written proof that Bosek has violated the king's order to stop raiding Breton shipping. With those papers in hand, the king can threaten to destroy Bosek if he doesn't stop.
The king's agreed to pay you for them.
Absolutely. His envoy is on the dock now, waiting. As soon as we turn over the sailing logs, he gives us a fortune in gold. The trick will be getting into Bosek's palace, stealing the logs, and getting out with them. That's your job.
How do I do it?
First, you need a servant's disguise to get into the palace. The papers are in a lockbox on the top floor. Bosek has the only key. Slip this powder into his drink, then grab the key.
And then?
The lockbox is always guarded. The guard's not bright, but he'll raise the alarm if anyone tries to open the box. Deal with him quietly. No stabbing. Lambour and I will have the ship ready to sail when you return with the papers.
I'll be back soon.
Quite the motley crew, aren't we?
What do you think of the captain's plan?
She's right. You need a disguise to get anywhere near Bosek. Fortunately, you have me. Just say the word and I can have servant clothes waiting for you at the palace.
Thanks, Larissa. I'd love your help.
My pleasure. Meet me outside the palace. I'll pick out something special for you.
It's a wonderful day for a sailing trip, isn't it, friend? Especially if it gets me off this rock before Bosek chops off my head.
Jakarn, can you help me get into Bosek's lockbox?
Bosek keeps the key around his neck, cinched steel. I'll get the key off Bosek. Meet me out back.
Sounds great.
Get your disguise and meet me out back. Leave Bosek to me.
Oh, yes. Hello. This is fascinating. Did you know the Dwemer had devices to rapidly mince fruit?
Naramo, can you help me get into Bosek's lockbox?
I can offer help with the guard, perhaps. You wish to deal with him quietly, correct?
What's your idea?
I removed this device from Clanker. When pressed, it produces quite the incapacitating shock. If you would test it for me, preferably on a living subject, I would be grateful.
I'll take it. Thanks, Naramo.
Let me know if there are any lingering effects. Twitching, mainly. I'm quite curious about the twitching.
Okay.
I remain and will pray for patience.
So the layout of this quest isn't too dissimilar to what we saw in Khenarthi's Roost. Because all these tutorial zones have elements that are reminiscent of each other, but they're oddly not present, aside from disguises, they're oddly not present throughout most of the game, which I find very, very strange. But here we are, we're finally going to make our way to the palace. And I kind of saved this place for last, mostly because there's not a whole lot. Not a whole lot going on here. It's just a pretty run-of-the-mill palace.
Hoping to see Bosek? So am I, for 3 days now.
Well, look who's come to pay a visit.
Did you find a disguise for me?
Oh yes, try these on. I'm sure they'll fit you just right. In the meantime, I'll just continue my sweep of the palace.
The gods have abandoned Stros M'kai. All live only at the whim of Headman Bosek.
Let's put on the disguise. Servant robes, there we go. Not really much of a disguise, is it?
Fancy a tune while you scrub the floors?
His palace is pretty neat. I love this water feature. I like that quite a bit, actually.
You do not carry yourself like a servant. Best see to that if you wish to avoid a beating.
Be gone, servant. Do your work and stop bothering me.
You're not staying for dinner too, are you?
Isn't he done talking yet? I've been waiting forever.
Onsi's bones, what is it now?
Have you seen Headsman Bosek?
Shouted at you too, did he? He just went out back to carouse with the latest slatterns from the mainland. Best hurry up and refill his drink. You don't want him running out of drink.
So it says go through there, but I'm curious about upstairs.
I hate this place, don't you? But I can't drag Garilda away from her books until she's read every last cursed one.
This town's history is fascinating. Did you know that many of the Dwarven relics still function?
Yeah, and that's like the most notable thing we'll get in regards to that, unfortunately. This palace is pretty cool, but oddly small.
This place would be nice if Bosek weren't around.
Like, it's got all these towers on it, but I don't see where or how you would to get in them or for them to even function other than they look cool, you know? It's a little unfortunate. Bosek's just knocked out.
Tell me more about those firm, deft hands of yours, Jakarn.
This Jakarn is quite charming for a scoundrel, but I do love scoundrels.
Ah, my lowly servant. You're just in time.
What happened to Bosek?
My dear friend, Headman Bosek, is sleeping off the attentions of these two lovely ladies. They are quite a handful, and an eyeful, too. Why don't you take the good headman's key inside for safekeeping?
I'll do that. I guess he just gave it to me? Okay. I love how there's just guards out here, too, and nobody stops him. But yeah, his palace is kind of, like, lame. Like, for one, it's directly overlooking, mind you, the goblin problem. So the idea that he doesn't believe there's a goblin issue is ridiculous, because you can see it from your house, dude. Come on now. He's also got this weird little gazebo that just kind of exists. It's way too tall for no reason, and it doesn't really seem to be doing anything. While also simultaneously having a tent gazebo, which I can see serving more of a purpose, because I think it's a water-catching tent or something like that. Regardless, it's all just very funny. Some senseless layout, you know. We don't even talk to him, we just use the device on him. Well, they're gonna know it was us. I didn't even sneak up on him or anything. I just hit him. Bit of a misstep there, I would say. We're gonna take the unorthodox way around. But you'll see what I mean when I say, like, there's just odd, you know, towers that you can't get into or use. In fact, that tower... I was gonna say it looks off-center. Maybe it's not. It looks odd to me, though. Yeah, the palace is very strange. I know it's not, like, supposed to be a big deal. It's just odd in terms of the way it's centered, you know? Like, it just kind of exists. And I guess I can take off this stupid robe. There we go. But yeah, that'll pretty much about do it for this place, because once we actually hit the docks, the quest's gonna be over. But, we'll wait a second until we actually get there.
My friend, welcome back. Do you have some good news?
Here's the shipping logs, Captain.
Here you are, Tharwab. The shipping logs that show Bosek's defiance of the King's decrees. Come on.
The king
it's
is
time to
pleased
go.
with what you've done here, as am I. You will find a generous reward below decks.
Nice. So this is everybody then, yeah?
On your feet, man your stations. Prepare to sail.
Finally, home to Betnik. I've missed my clan.
Let's talk to everybody first.
I can't wait to see Jakarn's battle scars. I'm sure he's got them everywhere.
Blade's Edge. We're setting sail with the famous Jakarn. Alethian and I have a bet on who's gonna bet him first.
Wherever Captain Larissa goes, I go. Even on this tub. Can't wait until we get our own ship again.
To be on the seas once again. This is paradise. Headman Bosek is a cruel master. If Colleen will have me, I will join the Spearhead's crew.
I'm looking forward to seeing Jakarn in action. I hear he's an incredible sailor. Lots of stamina.
What made you decide to join us?
Following Jakarn, of course. Why else would I be along? I'm looking forward to working alongside him, sweating shirtless in the hot sun. You wouldn't understand.
No, I wouldn't. Good God.
The Spearhead's a good ship, but she's no maiden's breath. At least she'll get us away from Stros M'kai. Looking forward to getting to know Lambour better. I like an orc with a quick blade and a quicker tongue.
Gross.
This should be an interesting voyage. Quite a crew Colleen has thrown together.
Who are you?
Vimy Lacroix. I'm a collector of sorts. One who travels to places others dare not go. I hoped to join Naramo's expedition to Bizark. When I heard he had completed it and was sailing on, I just had to come along.
What do you do exactly?
You're inquisitive. What I do well. You'll be glad to have me on this voyage if we encounter slavers. And I make a wicked sliced ale.
Okay.
Again, sailors flock to the Spearhead. For this, Kassan is thankful.
We've got one more deck to check below, as well as captain's quarters, but you never know. Yeah, tons of people on the ship now.
Can't hold a sword yet, but I can hold a book. Perhaps I should find a book that will teach me to fight with my left hand.
Might be a good idea.
Ah! Oh, don't sneak up on me.
What did you do on the Maiden's Breath?
I was quartermaster. I made sure we had the supplies and equipment to do whatever Larissa wanted.
You miss it?
For now. But Captain Larissa's hoping to get her own ship again. We'll see how things go in Betnik.
Mm.
The crew of the Spearhead grows again. I did not think to see it so soon. The sun shines on us.
Hungry? Really, how did they eat this stuff? I'm going to teach Fenlil a thing or two about cooking.
So you're a cook?
One of the finest, my good friend. I used to own my very own tap cafe in Wayrest, before that thug Ugers closed me down. I hope to open another one, once I collect enough coin. Maybe in Daggerfall.
Another note hidden back here. So, I guess I should speak on the sequel concepts, right? Things that they could do in this region. They teased the possibility of a war, a conflict between the the sea drakes and whatnot, but I don't think we're actually going to get that, because we kind of resolved that before it ever came down to it. In terms of actual continuations, though, I would like to see... I don't know, you could do more stuff here, just as a setting in general. You could add to locations, you could add to those smaller islands, you could add to the mountainsides, parts that we haven't been to. But I think Stros M'kai is a decent setting. I just think it looks terrible. But in terms of sequels, you could definitely do something. You could add more to do with the pirates. I would love to see Captain Colleen and them again, even though I think they have shown up in later DLCs. I know Larissa has. I think the other ones have too. Probably in High Isle, if I had to guess. But it'd be cool to see them again, maybe resolve some of these other things that we don't really talk about. Like, Crafty Larissa's crew hardly gets mentioned again, from what I recall. It'd be nice to actually see her ship.
There's no end in sight.
I knew Captain Colleen would get another crew together. When she wants something, she gets it.
What can you tell me about this ship?
The Spearhead's the fastest galleon on the seas. Master Kassan gave her to Captain Colleen when he retired. He taught her all she knows about the sea. Once the captain gets a new crew, we'll be off again.
What do you think of Captain Colleen?
She's amazing. She's smart, tough, and a real fighter. She's incredible with a sword, even for a Redguard who grow up using them. I've never met anyone like her.
How did you meet her?
Well, it's kind of embarrassing, but funny. I was living on the Wayrest docks, picking a few pockets here and there to get by. Then Colleen came walking by, with a huge bag of gold swinging from her belt.
And you tried to steal it.
I did steal it. She didn't even notice it was gone until I was halfway down the street. But boy, did she get after me. She can run. When she caught me, I thought I was dead, but she offered me a job. She was impressed.
So you joined her crew?
She said it was a good lift. Taking her purse, I mean. And offered me an apprenticeship. Sailing the seas, drinking and fighting, finding treasure. I love it. Captain Colleen's an incredible mentor.
Wonderful. Now I've been ordered to follow Naramo on another fool's errand. At least the drinks are free.
When active, Dwemer spiders have an extraordinary capacity for learning. Now I have to stop Handrillium from teaching Clanker to bring him drinks.
What do you want?
You're sailing with us?
Of course. I'll pull my weight, unlike Jakan. He's not getting near another woman until I'm too old to stop him. And we Altmer live a very long time.
Stros M'kai is a depressing place. Too many Redguards waving their damn swords around. At least on the Spearhead, no one wants to kill me except Irian. She'll come around. She's crazy about me.
The Spearhead's no maiden's breath, but at least she doesn't have a giant hole in her side. I'd be happy if we never saw land again.
Captain Colleen took her time getting off this damned island. Doesn't surprise me. Orc problems aren't her problems. But we'd be stuck here if not for your help. I won't forget that.
Yeah, so once we talk to Colleen here, it'll be over and done. So I guess I'll give my long and short take of the zone and exactly what I think they could do better. And quite frankly, I think the overall quest experience of the zone is actually fine. The quests are okay. As far as tutorials go, they don't really do a whole lot. There's plenty of boss enemies to fight. They introduce you to traps, which I can't remember. No, they did in Canarthy's Roost, and it was just as embarrassing there. They introduce you to traps, they introduce you to disguises. There's a couple of choices to be made, but nothing quite so serious as Canarthy's Roost or even Bleak Rock and Balfoyan. No, the choices that are made here are pretty, like, boring. It's literally like, oh, do you want to kill this person, or do you choose to give the gem back? They're consequenceless decisions, whereas the things we see in Bleak Rock and Balfoyan are quite consequential, as well as choosing between Gathwin and Rorelian. Those are decisions that you can actually see and feel, whereas Jakarn and killing Helene are not serious decisions. And I suppose you could even go through this quest without as many of the crew as you selected, I think. Honestly, I'm not entirely certain. But regardless, the other choices is also just, do you want to make the heist more difficult for yourself? Nothing, nothing really too impressive. In terms of layout, I think the layout of the map is fine, right? Especially if you do things in a more flowful order than what I did, because I kind of did things in reverse and it was a little awkward. Because I really think you should start with Jakarn and work your way to the left in a counterclockwise motion, but regardless, I think the layout of the map is fine. I think the towns could do some work. Port Hunding could be better. Saintsport, I think, is fine. I just wish it wasn't just solely a combat zone, but that's how I feel about a lot of the towns in this game. In terms of texture work, boy is it bad, right? Like I said, the rocks look really terrible, and something about the base game Redguard architecture really rubs me the wrong way, just because it looks so cartoony. But beyond that, I think, in terms of like, oh, what could we do to continue the story here? I think you could do something. Now that the Sea Drakes are wiped off the map and Bosek's gone, you could actually do more stuff here. Like if we were to come back and the place is different. Because that's the thing. I don't quite know what they mean when they say that they're going to be adding new storylines to zones. Right? Does that mean they're adding new locations? Does it mean they're adding new... or are they changing locations? Is it going to be an instanced thing? Like, what's actually going on here, you know? Because I would wager, like, okay, make Saintsport an actual town again. You can have a couple quests focused there. Add a new headman, you know, someone maybe less ruthless than Bosek. See actual change in Stros M'kai. You know, maybe the pirate threat is a bit more serious now that the town is more civilized, you know? You could do something with it. But overall, I think Stros M'kai, it's definitely... I think, visually, not the best. I think it's one of the ugliest places in the game, next to Bleak Rock. Both of those, like, if I had to pick, Stros M'kai is on the bottom for me. There's elements I like about Stros M'kai, just like with Bleak Rock, but like, boy oh boy, Stros M'kai is on the bottom for me. It's just so unappealing, and I think a lot of that has to do with the Redguard designs. They're just not very good looking. In terms of questing, I like the quests here, right? It's like, oh, you know, you're just pulling off a heist, right? You're gathering your crew. The characters you meet are funny enough, they're likable. But I definitely feel like the atmosphere is just wrong. Right? Like, the pirates don't feel nearly piratey enough. And I think it's because the base game clothes just didn't do it justice. And I assume that a lot of that stuff will get overhauled and changed. As well, there's a lot of early game trickery going on with, like, characters showing up and doing things, and it just looks really bad. I think a lot of that stuff will get improved. It'll all get changed. Hopefully. Hopefully. And of course, texture work and all that stuff. Things like the traps and whatnot, I really hope they do a better job with that stuff, but it all looks so cartoony and ridiculous. In ways that Bleak Rock really wasn't, aside from like the few traps that showed up in that in that Nordic ruin. Same thing with Canarthi, like in the Morning Temple. Those traps were really bad. But I think we'll see some improvements there with all that stuff. Because really what I want them to do is to make these things more unique, so that they stand out more, kind of like the zones do later on. Every zone, every DLC zone, I should say, feels unique to itself, right? Like, even if you go from High Isle to Galen, or even from High Isle to Vastir to Galen. All of those areas feel different enough that you can safely say, yes, this is that area, or this is that area. Right, like with High Isle, right, you've got the sunflowers, and it's very green plains kind of feel. Hilly, less mountainous, whereas you go to Vastir and it's like a dense jungle, and then you go to Galen and it's like rocky and very full of life. You've got a lot of trees. There is a jungle section, but it's almost more in tune with nature in a way. Whereas you've got things like Stros M'kai, and it just feels like it's made of the assets that they had for what's it called? Alakir Desert. And it's made in such a way where it doesn't feel quite right, if that makes any sense. Like, the shorelines should be more sandy, and, you know, like I've said that before. Shorelines should be more sandy, more inward of the island should be more grassy. Hopefully that's something they change. Hopefully they make the zone look better. Because as it stands, it's just unappealing. Like, the concept, on paper, it's good. What we have here is a neat area. I think more of the Dwarven integration with the buildings could be better. Because really, it feels slapdash and odd. Almost unfinished. Like, they really didn't know what they were doing with it. They just knew they needed to throw Dwarven pipes on the buildings. I hope that they make the assets unique. Like, it'd be cool if the Spearhead was a unique ship. Just like I hope the Prowler is a unique ship, you know? That way they don't all just look like the same boat. But I know that might be too much to ask, but that's what I'm hoping for. Overall, I would put this below Bleak Rock, just because it's not my favorite zone. I'm nostalgic for Stros M'kai, but not in its visuals. I'm nostalgic for its characters. Visually, I hate this place. No offense, no offense. Which is a shame, because I really like Abba's Landing, and I have a newfound appreciation for Alakir Desert. But there's also parts of Alakir Desert that I really hate, and we'll get to that when we get to that, and that's not for a while. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. I think I've taken up enough time in this place. The next time we meet, we will be going to Betnik, and that will be quite a fun little journey, because that's one of my favorite zones in the game. It's an oddly nostalgic place for me. I'm not really sure how to explain it. I suppose we'll get there soon. But anyways, let's cap this off here.
Before we leave for Betnik, talk to the crew. Get familiar with them. It'll be a long trip.
Or I guess I'll talk to the crew again. I'll get to know them.
If there's one thing Master Kassan taught me, it's that knowing your ship and crew keeps you alive. Seems like you'd make...
I skipped her dialogue on accident.
Captain Colleen took her time getting off this...
Oh, is it really just gonna be the same stuff? Alright, well then...
Before we leave for Betnik,
I'm ready to go now.
Get
Let's
familiar
sail.
with them. It'll be a long trip.
So, like I was saying, hope you all enjoyed. And I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye.
Then we leave for Betnik, an orc island that hasn't yet joined the Covenant. I hope to change that. Lembor's happy to go home. She may try to thank you with ale. My advice? Make it to 6 mugs. You'll have a friend for life.